He's the man to do the damage. Oh! As he looks for another headshot!
Yeah, let's have a bit of fun. Let's knock it up a notch, right? Because I did a video last time I streamed. We were talking about Rostermania. We were doing Rostermania. There's been now some really big roster moves that have happened, right? So we're gonna do a Rostermania 2 Electric Boogaloo on the day before Blast. In the last one, I gave a very broad outline for why I think JKS is overrated by Reddit. And I don't think you can specifically make like any defense of that, right? But somebody wanted to try and say, actually, Richard was way too harsh and he's really, really good. So here we go, right? And I'm going to just show you the thread. And by the way, someone in the thread says, can't wait till you turn up in Richard Lewis's next video. So that's good, isn't it? It was like a bit of an Inception thing going on. This was the thread. By the way, I love when people respond to my work, even if they don't agree with it, because like at least they took the time to like look at it and, you know, somebody's put some effort in here, right? So it's fine. I'm not even going to dunk on this guy, even though I think some of the things he says and does are like really stupid. But anyway, so this is Viper King, right? And he got some little rewards for it, like well done. And he said, as a disclaimer, I am a JKS fan. Well, you and 70% of Reddit, it seems. He is my favorite player and has been for a long time. That being said, I'm doing my best to come into this with an objective eye. Now, that's hilarious in and of itself, because you are literally responding to me saying he's overrated by trying to craft an argument to say I'm wrong. So you're not coming in with an unbiased eye. You're actually coming in with a very biased eye. And that's fine, because you're making a counter argument. You can't, you know, you're not doing it objectively. It's fine. I find it mind-blowing to me. Why would JKS be anyone's favorite player? He's been on a bench for like 18 months. Like, why would he be anyone's favorite player? You know, it is so crazy. Like, why would he be anyone's favorite, you know? If you're Australian, you have an excuse, but like, just crazy. Anyway, but he's like a lot of Redditors like that. They all love him for some reason. I think it's because his surname's Savage. Oh, he's a savage. Oh, he's a savage. Oh, that was savage. I don't know. Probably. That's probably the extent of it. You know, I can't even think of like an interview he's done where he's like really stood out as having a personality or anything like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, he goes, I wanted to look at the stats and try to find out what really happened with JKS on Complexity. I haven't watched all of his demos and seen all of his whiffs and his one-taps. This is completely based on his HLTV ratings. JKS played 27 events during his time with Complexity. Let's analyse them. He played a grand total of 4 events with Complexity before the team wasn't able to field all 5 of their players. Of these 4 events, JKS had an individual rating of, right? So I want people to remember, right, that the narrative on Reddit is he joined Complexity, the team was dysfunctional, and he just never got a break. He wasn't even playing in the real team, Richard, and then Blame F took all his positions away. Oh, how can anybody judge him? How dare you? Right, okay, so debut, 1.07 at the Blast Premier Fall Series. In his first event, JKS was finished second on his team in rating, coming behind Blame F. In his first series against Vitality, he finished with a 1.05 rating. So he includes a lot notable series against top-tier opposition. Right, fine. 1.11. Now, this was Beijing, Haidian, 2020 Europe, an event that's just a nonsense. JKS would put up great performances against teams such as Na'Vi and Big. He would put up an incredible 1.6 rating against Big and a 1.41 versus Na'Vi on Mirage. He would fall off during Complexity's only loss with a rating of 0.89 and 0.84. Now, when I see huge disparities like that, I don't care about your peak. I care about your consistency. I care about your baseline. If you go and have a 1.61 game against Big, it's meaningless if in a must-win game against Vitality you go 0.84. Right, just saying. But whatever. Overall, as an average, it's fine. Then you notice 1.03, not as good, just creeping above 1 in the HLTV2 rating isn't great. Only playing 2 matches during this event, he would put up good numbers with Sprout with a 1.31 rating and a 1.13 rating. Oh, you mean he could beat Sprout? You mean he could play well against Sprout? Notorious Tier 2 team Sprout. Oh, he did that, did he? Brilliant. Well, okay, must be a good player then. Then went relatively silent for the rest of the series against Cloud9 with 0.66 and 0.88 ratings. So you mean he played a better caliber team and he went shit again? Crazy. Then this, and remember, this is when the team was real by his own admission, 0.88. DreamHack Masters 2020 Europe. This was a poor event by JKS. 2 good performances would save him from a much worse rating. A 1.58 rating versus FaZe and a 1.23 rating against ENCE would bring his overall rating up, although he would come close to being positive again with a 0.99 rating in a double overtime versus FaZe. So he nearly broke 1 in a double OT. Those 2 maps would be his only 2 positive maps of the event. So in other words, right, you have to remember, when JKS joined, he was a hotly contested free agent, and he got the bag. He is the highest paid player on this roster. He's probably making more than Blame F, who also, as you remember, got the bag when Jason Lake flew out to fucking sign him. So, Poison then gets his eye injury or whatever. Or was it an eye injury or was it an appendix? I can't remember what Poison. Over these 3 events, JKS would go 0.96, 0.82, and 0.77. His worst rating during his time at Complexity. Now, can anybody tell me, right, what a fucking CT expert, right, a man capable of locking down any bomb site with incredible defensive work, who doesn't play in tandem with any of the AWPers or anything like that, why is he playing so shit? Like, I see a lot of people going, well, they were using stand-ins. Anyone care to explain why his fucking game completely went to pieces? It wasn't like he was covering someone else's positions. He still had all his touches. So why did he go to shit? What do you think it does to a team when you see a player, and again, as you'll see at the end, the guy goes, he wasn't brought in to be a star player. He was fucking paid star player money. So he better do something. So can anyone give me a reason as to why I should pretend this doesn't have a huge detrimental negative impact on the team? I can't. I won't. I will not be gaslit by Reddit. On he goes. Then they say Poison returned and he went 1.24. Very good in those group stages at Blast Premier, right? Excellent. That was when Complexity were like really back and you thought, oh, Poison's back, they're going to do it. Then Katowice, the play-in, and they got eliminated by Mouse. And you can see here, Complexity would self-destruct on the 3rd map in that series. JKS had a rating of 0.27. Now that's one of the worst all-time professional performances you're ever going to see. 0.27. Who is he? Stewie 2K? What's going on? And this guy just glossing over this. Like, yeah, 1.07, 1, 1.06, 1.02, 1.13, 1.04, 1.01, 0.96, 1.01, 0.97, 1.02. This is like mediocrity in Tier 1. Like, that's what it looks like. And this guy's saying, but they were using stand-ins. They field NATO suffix this time. This was called Zera's first game. 0.79 in a closed qualifier. This was his last performance, right? So this is just average. This is all just average with some bright spots and some unbelievably terrible dark spots. And then at the end, right, because after going through all of JKS's performance complexity, I'd say he performed consistently as the 3rd or 4th best player for Call, where I believed he was supposed to be. JKS was meant to be, apparently, when they bought him and made him one of the highest paid players in the world, he was meant to be the 3rd or 4th best player in that lineup, right? Config reached an incredibly high level while on Complexity, and Blame F is an incredibly talented star player himself. Poison was inconsistent with the AWP, but was also able to put up star performances from time to time. JKS would average a 1.0 rating over his total 27 events with Complexity. His low points were low, but his high points were really high. No, you don't get to say that, mate. His low points were really low. 0.27, 0.36, 0.31. Comparing him to his complexity teammates, he finished rated the best player on call twice, the second best player 5 times, and the third best player 6 times, the fourth best player 8 times, and the worst player 3 times. I believe he can rise to a higher level, like we saw on 100 Thieves and Renegades. He obviously cannot be the star on a team with Nico Hunter and Munazi, but if he receives the roles he enjoys, like he did at complexity, I don't care what anyone says about Blame F taking up his lurking roles and stuff and occupying all of his space. JKS was brought in and he had input because he was paid loads. He will be a good player for G2 Esports and an improvement over Jax. Now, I agree that he's an improvement over Jax, but this is whitewashing history, and fucking Reddit do this all the time. And so I'm going to show you once and for all, like, this is how mental it is, right, when it comes to overrating JKS on the fucking Global Offensive subreddit. You will not believe your fucking eyes. I don't understand it. I cannot understand it. I cannot believe it, like, you know, it gets to, like, this level for a player that has done absolutely fuck all, except had, like, a notable run when he was playing in an Australian lineup. So remember, he was brought back to be a stand-in for FaZe. Okay? Rush B Media, they decided that they'd set the table, write the article. This is 6 months ago. The case for JKS, the Australian sensation with a point to prove. Sensation. We've just gone over his stats. We've just gone over his career. A sensation. Right, top comment, most voted comment. I'm curious what's happening with him. He's one of the best free agents without a team. All right, okay, no problem, right? It gets announced he's standing in for FaZe. During the time he was announced to be a stand-in, he did a little interview, and unlike Junior, he can certainly do an interview. I'll give him that, right? He said, JKS, I don't want to be the reason these guys drop out of the tournament. And he's saying, like, you know, obviously I haven't played for a while and blah, blah, blah. And I really want to prove that I've still got it. But the most importantly, because they've given me this chance, I want to reward them. Yeah, that's like a cool thing to say. It's the right thing to say. Top comment. Someone please pick this guy up. Please. He really deserves somewhere to play, Messioso. Funnily enough, this was Messioso, who's now the GM of Complexity, who could play him, saying, yeah, he really deserves... Fucking play him then, you cunt! How about that? How about you do it? And what that really means is, please, someone take his unbelievably colossal salary off our fucking accounts. That's what that means. JKS, our Lord and Savior. All right. Okay. So, here we go, right? Constant updates from the stand. Like, I've never seen this. No one does this for any stand-in, right? This was his first map, okay? Excellent performance on the first map, standing in for FaZe. Right, and you click on it, and there it is. 17 kills against Gambit. Wow. Suddenly, all the arguments about, you know, oh, the war's affecting everyone. Obviously, it's going to affect these. But that all goes out the window. We get on to the next, right? Just a day later. JKS doing an incredible job. Thank Mr. Savage. There he is. Middle of the table. Doing an incredible job. It's incredible. So, that got followed up with a thread. Because, of course. Remember, this is all just during Katowice, right? This is like based on 2 days of watching him play. Who should pick up JKS? Who? I think we've established he deserves a spot on a tier 1 team. 2 days of standing, we've established it. It's over. It's settled. Settled. He's playing under the best IGL who's won multiple tournaments for standings. The most tournaments for standings won by any IGL. A guy who literally said in his interviews, I'm going to give you up positions to make you look good and all of that stuff. I just want the team to succeed. I just want to do... No, where's he going to say? I think it's all established he should play on a tier 1 team after he's showing in Kato. But what roster will he fit? Minus Masuta plus JKS sounds good. Would have been Fnatic if Brolam was still there. Liquid is the obvious answer. Just throwing the name out. Fnatic. Was there some sanity there? Grim. Grim's got to go. Okay. All got to go. Now remember, this guy's been on the bench all this time. So you have to ask why. Right? Then you go another one. Okay. Just another one. I won't even get into this one. Right? This thread just entitled A New Home for JKS. Many talented players are unsigned on the bench, but only one has been tearing it up as a stand-in Katowice, JKS. So my question is, where does he go from here? Personally, I think he may have his best shot with Mouse. I know JDC done well as a stand-in, and I admit I was caught up in the hype as well, but he fell off a bit after the play-in, and this is where I think minus BMAS plus JKS can take this team back to being top 5 in the world. JKS will make fucking Mouse Sports that just crap out last in every tournament they attend. Adding JKS will make them top 5 in the world, guys. Top 5. Fuck Navi and G2 and fucking Vitality and everyone else who's doing all of the top 5. Mouse Sports top 5. If they just add JKS, that's how good JKS is, guys. Top 5. Upvoted, by the way. And then, outside of these two, I'm not sure. Vitality, G2 and FaZe seem set with the pieces. Fnatic is in a shambles after Brolan went. I think they lost a key piece. And I think any English-speaking team from Ents downward wouldn't really have a chance at doing anything JKS deserves. Ents, who are going to fucking finals? No, that's not good enough for JKS, the man who makes any team he's on a top 5, except the teams he actually historically played for. Unbelievable. Then, JKS appreciation post. Seeing JKS's performance in the grand finals of Katowice, it just shown how much was wrong with the complexity team he was on. So him playing well on FaZe and FaZe winning a tournament says it was all complexity's fault. The whole time. It was complexity's fault. Everyone else was wrong. And here we go. All the memes. Cracked and jacked. I bumped into him in 7-Eleven and he said something and then Bunny hopped out the shop. Aussie. Liquid, EG, OG and Fnatic all having competent management if they don't give him a call. By the way, he's so fucking out of his mind, JKS. He thought he could turn those teams down. Then this person who doesn't even understand how it works. Pretty sure he's never leaving the bench after this. His buyout price is going to be insane. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how esports buyout works, guys. If you play well when you're on loan to another team, your buyout price keeps going up, locking you in perpetual hell so you can never leave. This system is designed that way. The org that's been trying to desperately offload him, which is why he's on loan in the first place, are now going to raise his price so they can never sell him. That's Reddit logic right there. We're not even close to done yet, by the way, guys. So this is the day. Remember, they've done it. Done all of the fucking bits and pieces, right? They won the trophy. Here it is as well. Wow. JKS lifting his first Tier 1 trophy ever. Top, must be one of the best players of all time then. Never won a Tier 1 trophy. Never before. Until he played on FaZe. Well, just as well he was there. Surely he was the factor in why they won. Makes total sense to me. Then, and this was the most sickening one, I referenced this on one of the later episodes of By the Numbers from this time period. Can we all agree that JKS deserves his own FaZe jersey as a souvenir after his contributions at Katowice? Yes, can we all agree that FaZe need to somehow come up with a deal so they can use JKS's image rights to create a commemorative jersey? Because this is so important in the fucking history of FaZe that JKS played as a stand-in at a tournament they won. Let us make a special jersey of it. In fact, instead of it being like a real FaZe jersey, let's just have it all JKS's face. All of it JKS, all over the body, like. Here you go. Would buy a jersey 100% if they did a limited run, the JKS edition. Sign me up. Sponge would likely buy them all. What if he just kept subbing for teams and winning tournaments? That would be something. Great idea. A great storyline and would be a fantastic souvenir that I'm sure he would appreciate. Still the day of them winning. This was on blix.gg. Entitled, How JKS heroically saved FaZe. Saved them from what? From being a number 1 fucking team in the world. Heroic. A video. JKS, FaZe's super standing. Okay, so the dust is settling now. Twists said in an interview he was the reason JKS went there because Carragher was thinking about taking Bubsky, and it was Twists who said, no, if we can get JKS, you should go with it. And Carragher went, yeah, all right, stand in, I'll make it work. But obviously, so we're getting to the end of it now. JKS, the ultimate sub. Here's some voice comms. Listen to your God, JKS. Then, asking the big question. How is JKS still unsigned? It's crazy no one's picked him up. Are there any updates? Please, I've got to find out what's happening with JKS. JKS to North America. Given the showing of how solid and impactful JKS was during being a stand-in for FaZe Clan during Katowice, why haven't any NA or English-speaking rosters in T1, T2 picked him up? I'd watched Pro CS for a few months. Well, you go, you're the fucking authority on it then. You ask me, you know 100% that he's the best player ever, Is there a role issue? Does JKS want to get back onto a roster? Would he be okay grinding with EG, Col, or TL? He signed to Col, of course. It's the night before round 1 of the PGL Major. A player falls ill and can't attend. Which team would benefit the most from having the GOAT, the greatest of all time standing, Justin JKS Savage, join their ranks? Let's fantasize about people getting ill so JKS can play. Is there an update? I'm just curious. No team picked him up before the major qualifiers. I followed his FaZe fill in win, and I thought for sure he'd be on a team at the major qualifiers. What happened to JKS? The guy tears through the Intel Extreme Masters cutoff, rated 4th overall on FaZe. He tore everyone apart. Should have got the MVP. I would need to find that thread, actually. So what happened? Why wouldn't anyone sign him? Why wouldn't anyone sign my beloved JKS? Then, he eventually gets, because G2 have lowered all of their professional standards and are now just going to try and pander to Reddit, they've decided to pick him up. Along with Hooksy, just ridiculous. And so it was announced. Here it is. This was the announcement thread. A joke about him being a permanent stand-in. Ooh, no stand-in buff. Something about a KRL stream. JK sex. If this is true, something tells me Cole can afford new Opa. The waiting game paid off. Dude landed on a top 3 caliber team. Hope JKS finds the success he deserves. Remember, he's being paid tens of thousands of dollars not to play Counter-Strike all this time by an org that weren't playing him, so they could save some money. G2 CT side got infinitely better. Extremely happy with this pickup. JKS was the star player in 100 Thieves Renegades in 2019. Yes, CT roles are perfect. G2 about to be buffed into oblivion. Awesome. JKS deserves a spot in T1. Right, so you've seen how positive the response was. So what happens next, do you think? Expert take. Kasada Maui Snake defend JKS move to defend from who? Defend from who, you mad cunts? Everyone's loving it. Everyone thinks JKS is unironically the best fucking player ever to have played the game. He is talked about on Reddit as much as fucking Simple is. It's fine. Everyone's happy. Even when it's going to flop. Even when G2 are going to be worse than what they were previously, everyone's just going to pretend that they weren't all this fucking high on fucking JKS joining G2. Like, it was a big transformative move. Yeah, it's going to change everything. There's nothing to defend him from. Here's the thread. Now, if you watch the actual tournament at Katowice, you know Brokey deserved to be the MVP. He was insane. He was at a tournament where Simple was at, right? And he was statistically the best player at the whole event. And look at it. One performance of 0.97, everything else in the green, massive performances. He was unfucking real, right? So he got the MVP. What a beast. I was kind of hoping Katowice had their own MVP and they would give it to the JKS while HLTV one went to Brokey. I thought JKS got the fan vote MVP. Ridiculous. I don't mind that some guy went and basically created what is nothing more than just a fucking excuse sheet for JKS underperforming for a significant part of his career and wasting all of Complexity's money. But when you fucking just brush away some absolutely appalling performances, just airbrush them out of history and say Complexity was dysfunctional, that's why it's happening. It's like, at this point, like, it's just where we're at Reddit. I know, I am 100% confident I'm going to have the last laugh on this one. This is going to be so fucking unreal. But irrespective, whether G2 succeed, whether JKS turns to be like the absolute baller, best player of all time, Reddit is diseased. Reddit has this unbelievable fucking opinion of a player that's done absolutely nothing whatsoever in his career to earn it. It's fucking crazy that it's real, but it is. And there you go. Those are all the threads. I missed out on as well, by the way. You can go look for yourself. Just search JKS. Look at all the clips. Look at all the comments in those threads. It's insane.